Hi fashion lovers, you're welcome back to my channel. Trust you're all doing well. In today's tutorial, we want to learn how to cut and sew this beautiful off-shoulder mermaid gown. It is very easy and simple to follow. For this tutorial, you don't need any pattern. I cut it directly on the fabric. If you are a beginner, trust me, this is very easy and simple for you to follow. If you are new here, you're highly welcome. This is So Style with GB. Kindly subscribe to be part of this family. And to my subscribers, thank you for sticking by. Don't forget to like this video and share as well. Let's get started. To get started, I have 3 yards of crepe fabric. I have 3 yards, so you're going to need 3 yards. And if you want this to be more fuller, or if you are a taller person, I would advise you get 4 yards so you'll be on a safe side. For me, I use 3 yards, and the owner is not really tall and is not so full. So if you want yours to be fuller than what you have seen, if you want yours to be fuller, you can go ahead and make use of 4 yards. I have the measurement we are going to be needing for the cutting of this. The bust circumference is 38. The round over bust, this is what the round over bust is. You are going to need your bust point, half length, waist circumference, hip circumference, your hip line, shoulder to the hip line, your shoulder to the knee length, and the full length. You are going to need your round over bust. Very, very important. So for the bust circumference of this person, it is 38. I will add 1 inch for ease and then divide it by 4. So it will be 39 divided by 4. I will have 9.75. And for the round over bust, I will divide by 4 and I will have it as 8 inches. Then you go ahead on the hip, you add 1 inch to the person's hip. So the person's hip is 41. I'll go ahead and add 1 inch. It will give me 42. Divided by 4 is going to give me 10.5. And the knee circumference, you also want to divide by 4. You measure the person's knee circumference. As you're taking the measurement, the person should walk. And the knee circumference here is 34. I divided it by 4 and I have it as 8.5. So to get the fold of your fabric, get the person knee circumference, 1/4 of the person knee circumference, add about 7 to 8 inches. To get the fold of the front pattern or the front fabric, whatever is the person's nail circumference, 1/4 of it, which mine is 8.5, then you want to go ahead and add 8 inches or 7 inches. So by the time you get the value, you'll be able to fold your fabric by that measurement. So I'll just go ahead and cut out the other part that I will not be needing, so we can concentrate on the front. So on the upper part here, I will mark 1 inch for the starting point to serve as a guide, and then I'll go ahead and rule the line. So the next thing you want to do is to do your off shoulder. I'm going to come down by 5 inches. So the off shoulder I'm going to be using for this dress is 5 inches, and I will advise you use 5 inches at most for this type of off shoulder. For this type, you can also use 6 depending on the deepness, but it should not be more than 6. And if your bust is a bit full, if your bust is fuller and you don't want to expose or show any cleavage, I will advise you use 4 inches for the off shoulder. But for this person, I will use 5 inches. I will keep my tape on 5 inches and go ahead and mark the chest line. That is what I'm marking now. So I will also go ahead and mark the half length, which is the waistline, and our waistline is 17. And then you also mark the hip line, then mark the knee line and the full length. So this is the hip line. Then you also mark the knee line and the full length of the person's measurement. So this is the length to the ankle now. So to the length of the ankle, Then I will add extra 7 inches. This is a mermaid gown and you want it to touch the floor. So after you have measured after you have measured from shoulder to the ankle, you add at least 7 inches. You can add more than, but it should be up to 7 inches. So I've gone ahead to rule my horizontal line. So at this point I forgot to mark my shoulder to the knee, so I will mark my shoulder to the knee, but whatever I have as the shoulder to the knee, I'm going to remove 2 inches from, I'm going to come up 2 inches from it. So if your shoulder to the knee is 38 inches, you are going to use 36. You are going to come up 2 inches or 3 inches from whatever your knee is. Please come up 2 or 3 inches before marking the line. So on the upper part, you want to get your round over bust. So the round over bust is 32 divided by 4 is 8 inches. 8 inches. So that 8 inches, I'm going to subtract 2 inches from it, 2 or 3 inches. You can subtract 2 to 3 inches from your over bust circumference, 1/4 of your over bust circumference, and then you mark on the upper part. And the reason why we're removing that is because of the armhole. So when you measure your over bust circumference, whatever you have, divide by 4 minus 2 inches and mark on the upper part. So on this chest line, mark 1/4 of your chest circumference. Mark 1/4 of your chest circumference, and then go ahead and connect your armhole curve. On the upper part, we mark 1/4 of the over bust minus 2 inches. You can remove 3 inches. So I'll go ahead and add 1 inch sewing allowance. So on the waist circumference, on the waist, you are going to mark 1/4 of the person's waist circumference. Divide the waist by 4 and mark, and then add 1 inch for sewing allowance. So at this point, I decided to add 1.5 inches as the sewing allowance instead of 1 inch. So I have to go to the chest line and the waistline and remark it. On the hip line, mark 1/4 of the person's hip measurements. So from that side, you go up by 1/2 inch and go down by 1/2 inch. You can go up by 1 inch. I went up by 1/2 inch and I went down by 1/2 inch. So I added my sewing allowance of 1.5 inches. So you just want to connect that point like this. So I mark 1/4 of my hip circumference plus 1.5 inches for the sewing allowance. So from that side, I went up by 1/2 inch up and 1/2 inch down because you don't want this to get to that point. So by the time you connect your chest to the hip, you should just stop above the hip. So on the knee, I'm going to mark 1/4 of the knee measurements. 1/4 of the knee measurement, and I will add 8 inches. So that 8 inches, 1 inch is for the sewing allowance, and then 7 inches is for the flare on the mermaid part. So on the knee, mark 1/4 of your knee measurement. Go up by 1/2 an inch and go down by 1/2 an inch on the knee, because you don't want your line to get to that knee. So as you are connecting from the hip, you are stopping above the knee by 1/2 an inch. You are stopping. So this is going to help you to blend those regions very well. So I will use my curve and blend the hip line very well now. Please note that what I marked on the knee is 1/4 of the knee measurement plus 1 inch for the sewing allowance. 1/4 of the knee measurement plus 1 inch for the sewing allowance. Please take note of that. So the sewing allowance on the knee is just 1 inch. So from this part now, 1/2 inch below the knee, you want to go ahead and connect your flare. So I've gone ahead to connect the flare like this. So the flare So you want to keep your curve like this and blend this part. Keep your curve like this and blend the knee part. Remember that the width of this pattern is 1/4 of our hip, 1/4 of our knee plus 8 inches plus 8 inches. So you want to come up by 1 inch and curve this part, the end parts now. The width of this dress is actually 17.5 inches. Just in case you are wondering what is the width is 17.5 inches, but your measurement is going to determine. And I want to also say that this fabric is stretchy, like not very stretchy, but it is stretchy. So take note of that, it is stretchy, but not very stretchy. So after I was done, this is what I have. So you want to add sewing allowance of 1/2 inch on the upper part, and then go ahead and cut this pattern out. So on the upper part here, you want to add 1/2 inch as you're cutting, and also on the armhole. So I'll just close it up like this, the 1/2 inch, and then go ahead and cut out my pattern. So after I'm done, this is what I have. You can see I'm done cutting the front. So I'll just go ahead and fold my fabric to cut the back. So I'm going to place the front on the back on the fabric to cut out the back part. So I've done that already. So the way I folded the fabric to cut out the front is not the way I'm folding the back now. So I have to fold it the other way around so I can get the fullness I want for the back. So you can use 4 inches, so you don't have to be doing some calculation on how to use your fabric, and it will be enough for you. So I have to turn the fabric the other instead of turning it to with the length, I turned it with the width of the fabric, which is the yardage of the fabric, so I can get a longer length. So that's how I was able to manage 3 yards. So I'm trying to place the front now on the back, and know that the back is going to still have an extension. So whatever thing you are doing, just know that you will still have to extend the back depending on how you want it to be. You can extend by 15, 10, 20 inches. So for me, I have mine as just 10 inches. So I have the length here as 10 inches, but I just extended by 7 because the lady does not want it too long. So I extended by only 7 for the back now. So 7 inches. So I've gone ahead to mark 1 inch for my zipper allowance. So towards the back, the center back, I left 7 inches for the extension at the back. So what I have here is 7 inches for the extension. So you want to go ahead and mark your back length, so the person's back length, and when you get the person's half length, now the person's back half length, you go inward by 1 inch to eliminate the zipper bulge. So that is what I'm trying to do there. So I located the person's back half length, which is like 1 inch different from the waist. So I just went inward by 1 inch, and I'm trying to connect the new zipper now. So I just removed the 1 inch I just removed the zipper bulging effect. So when you have done that, you go to the waist line and add it back. So after removing 1 inch from the zipper, I will go to the waist and add it back. So my back waist, I'm going to add the 1 inch I removed for zipper, and then connect it to the chest line and connect to the hip. Another thing I'm going to do on this pattern is I'm going to remove 1/2 inch from the front hip and add to the back hip. We all know that the the back hip has more butt, has more hip than the front. So I'm going to remove ½ inch from the front and add to the back. So the next thing I want to do is on the knee line, I removed 1 inch and connected it like this. On the knee line, I removed 1 inch, and that one, and I'm adding ½ inch on the hip now. That ½ inch I'm adding on the hip is the ½ inch I'm going to remove from the front. Please don't get confused. I will explain it again. So I removed ½ inch from the front hip and I added it to the back hip, and that is what I'm trying to connect. On the knee, I removed 1 inch. On the knee for the back, and I removed 1 inch, just the way you do for your skirt pattern. So I'm trying to curve. So that 1 inch I removed on the knee, I will go ahead and add it back. I will go ahead and add it back. The reason why I'm doing this curve effect, can you see that, is so when the person wears it, it comes out very well. The person has a very good shape. So when the person wear it, you want to see the shape of the dress on the person. That's the beauty. So on the back waistline, I removed 1 inch for the normal zipper bulge. On the knee, I removed 1 inch and I added it back here. You can see that I added it back, so you can go ahead and link it back to the hip. So on the hip, back hip, I added ½ inch towards that zipper side. I added that ½ inch, and that ½ inch will be taken from the front hip. It will be taken from the front hip because the back hip has is more bigger than the front. So that is the reason why I'm doing all this. So just link this now and then use your curve ruler and connect here. So if you just take your time, watch this, you will get it. You don't need pattern, you don't need anything. Just follow what I said and you will get it. So the next thing is to come down by 7. Like I said, the person does not want it to be, that overflowing. So I'm just extending the back by 7. Also note that the front already have 7 inches extended from the normal ankle, and I'm extending the back by 7 inches, and I just made a straight line. That straight line is so that I will not get confused. And from the hip, you want to go ahead and link it up to the darn. So you can just use your free hand. So at this point, I'm going to freestyle. If I mark this and I don't get it, I will mark another one. So at that point, you can freestyle. And your extension can be more than this. Your extension can be more than this. So it depends on how you want the extension to be. So at this point, I'm trying to use the curve ruler to know if I can get it. So at this point, I'm trying to freestyle. There is no big deal about it. So just freestyle and get what you want to. So at this point, I think I've gotten what I want. So I'll just go ahead and mark it. This is the line I'll be following. Can you see that? So leave the other extended line. So this is how it's going to go. So when you are sewing this pattern, when you get to the knee, you have to use ½ inch to sew it. Please take note. When you're sewing this pattern, when you get to that knee, you have to use ½ inch to sew it. So from the side seam of the front here, you want to make the curve. So you can do any curve of your choice. So at this point, I will just freestyle and get what I want. So at this point, I think I have gotten what I wanted at this point. So from this point, I went up by 1 inch to make a curve. Do you see what I'm doing? So to make a curve like that. So this is not a big deal. You can follow it and you understand it. So I'll just go ahead and cut this pattern. Just follow me as I cut this pattern. So at this point, I have to remove the ½ inch from the front hip because I've already added it to the back. So from this part now, this is the front part. I'm working on the front part. I marked ½ inch inward and I want to remove it. That ½ inch I'm removing, I've already added it to the back hip. Remember, towards the waist, towards the zipper side. So because you want to create more space on the back part for your hip, so I will just cut out that. So I'll just use my curve ruler to blend that point, and then I will trim off that ½ inch because I don't need it. So remember to always do this whenever you are cutting your dress, especially if the person has a bigger, hip. So I will just go ahead and continue with my cutting. So at this point, I am done cutting, as you can see. This is the final result. So in my next tutorial, we are going to learn how to sew it. So stay tuned and thank you for watching. Don't forget to like this video, share, and do well to subscribe. And see you in my next video. Bye bye.